Right, okay. Another year, back here with Caroline Fiske for Conservatives for Women. Thank you very much for coming back. Just wanted to ask some updates on the PSHE school guidance stuff, because you've been a really vocal campaigner on all this, and thank you very much for doing so. How receptive are the government to it, and where are they with the review?
Okay, so I would say things are pretty slow, so this might be a short interview. So the government has promised to review the relationship, sex and health education guidance, and they needed to do that because in 2019 they said they would do the review in 3 years, so that's great. You know, we all campaigned heavily for it, and it's like, actually, we have to do it anyway. But it's all gone sort of behind closed doors, and everybody's now waiting for draft guidance, which will then go to consultation. So it's happening, but we don't have any updates. I guess what I would say is the collective voice from so many grassroots movements has become clearer and clearer that children should not be taught in school about gender identity as if it's a fact, as if they have one. So I think there's enormous pressure on the government to get it right and to remove some of that unscientific ideology from the school curriculum.
Well, you also contributed bits and pieces to the case inquiry. So we both focused on the Swindon Town Council guidance, which was abhorrent. And it seems like even though Rishi Sunak has signed off on that and said, yeah, we need to look into this, they haven't released the findings, which is surprising. Why are they blocking that? Any ideas?
Okay, so there was an independent group which was pulled together to look at the age appropriateness of different materials and to provide guidance on age appropriateness. Now, their recommendations have not been released. I think that people have decided not to make a noise about that, like people are surprised. But I think we're waiting now simply to see the guidance because there is an open public consultation and we'll focus on that. So I think we haven't really made a big issue about that because it's sort of process and we're focused on the end result, I guess.
Got it. And have you had more traction around your stall in the last year compared to this year, previous year before, about the trans issue specifically? Are MPs now more courageous on taking the biologically obvious stance because they know that the other parties are incapable of doing so? Have you had a lot more traction with some more party front faces?
So last year we had a stall for the first time, and I think we found it quite hard to articulate our story because people just thought it was bonkers. So I think so many people didn't know what was happening. And again, thanks to all the grassroots movements from left, right, centre, really getting out there and saying this is happening in our schools. And some of the papers have been really good, the Daily Mail, the Telegraph, exposing what's going on. I shouldn't have just said schools, I should have said NHS, right across the public sector. So, now people are just coming up to our stall and saying we completely agree with you. And my guess is we've had maybe 20 Conservative MPs photographed with, adult, human, female, but also, child safeguarding is not a culture war. So we've really got into this thing of this is not a culture war issue and people shouldn't trivialise it by saying it is. It's about respecting science, free speech, reason, women's rights, child safeguarding. These are really foundational issues. They're not culture war issues.
And there's, I suppose, a unintentional curveball, the level at which the guidance is provided, as we've seen recently with the sort of kindergartens in Germany encouraging children for sexual exploration. They got that from the WHO. We saw the UN AIDS principles released on all things on International Women's Day, where they said that, children can transition their genders and some of them can consent to sexual activity, which is abhorrent. Do you think those kinds of issues, if you're really reaching lots more MPs, there'll be a bit more scepticism as to whether or not we should be funding and supporting these institutions? They're putting out guidance like that. Do you think that's on the docket?
I've not seen much go to that level. And I guess what I would say, I think a lot of women's groups have been quite reluctant to start talking about that because honestly, we quite quickly sound like conspiracy theorists. If we start to sort of say, this is going on, up at the level of the UN, etc. So I think we've really focused on just the facts about, biological sex is real. We shouldn't be teaching in our schools that it isn't. So I think we've really focused on the local level and haven't really gone there.
Okay, well, I'll keep fighting at the top and you keep fighting locally. So thanks very much for your time.